The alien girl lifted her shirt. What was on her back shocked the human. A dusty outpost clinic on a red planet no one visits. A little girl with glowing blue skin walks in for a routine checkup, and the scanner lights up with something impossible, living circuits woven through her scars. She's not just a child. She's a walking vault holding proof of a galaxy-wide trafficking ring. Smash subscribe, tap the bell, and comment SCARS if you're ready to watch the sky crack open. And now the twin suns of Kestrel 9 hung low, painting Haven Ridge in bruised gold. Dust drifted across the landing pads like slow-motion snow, catching in the vents of the outpost's air recyclers. Inside the medical bay, the lights hummed at half power, the way Marcus Hale preferred them, soft enough that the scars on his own arms didn't throw shadows. He tapped the console, cycling through routine vitals for the morning shift. Another day of sprained ankles, allergic reactions to local pollen, the usual. Then the door slid open with a hiss that felt too loud. A small Aurelian girl stepped through, barefoot, clutching a ration pouch like a teddy bear. Her skin glowed the color of deep oceans under starlight, and her eyes, big, liquid, curious, fixed on Marcus as if he were the first human she'd ever seen up close. A taller figure lingered behind her. Varro, broad-shouldered, dressed in the plain gray tunic of a civilian aide. He gave Marcus a tight nod and nudged the child forward. "Routine checkup," Varro said, voice flat. "Prefect Malix's office sent her." Marcus crouched, bringing himself eye-level with the girl. "Hey there, I'm Doc Hale. What's your name?" She tilted her head, antennae twitching. "Lyra." A shy smile tugged at her mouth. "You have pretty lights on your coat." He glanced down at the diagnostic patches stitched to his sleeve, standard Terran medkit, and chuckled. "They're just tools, kid. Come on, hop up." He patted the exam table. Lyra obeyed, legs swinging. Varro stayed by the door, arms folded. Marcus lifted the handheld scanner, its blue beam washing over her like gentle surf. The readout began populating. Heart rate steady, oxygen saturation perfect. Bone density? Wait. He paused the sweep at her torso. Beneath the thin fabric of her tunic, faint lines crisscrossed her skin. Too regular for bruises, too deliberate for accidents. He zoomed the image. The lines weren't scars, they were circuits. Living filaments threaded just under the dermis, pulsing in slow synchrony with her heartbeat. "Huh," he muttered, more to himself. Lyra watched the screen, fascinated. "It tickles when you do that." "Does it?" Marcus kept his tone light, but his stomach tightened. He angled the scanner away from Varro's line of sight and initiated a deep tissue map. The filaments formed a lattice, nodes at every major nerve plexus, converging on a dense knot just left of her sternum. The pattern looked engineered. He'd seen combat augmentations, black market neural laces, but nothing this elegant, nothing in a child. He tapped his wrist comm. "Computer, pull medical file for patient Lyra, Aurelian minor, Guardian Varro. Access denied. Level 9 clearance required." Marcus's jaw flexed. Level 9 was diplomatic black hole territory. He killed the comm before Varro noticed. "All right, kiddo, almost done." He ran a quick nutrient panel, malnutrition flagged amber, nothing acute, and printed a vitamin patch. "Stick this on before bed, okay? Makes you strong like a starship." Lyra peeled the backing and pressed the patch to her arm with solemn concentration. "Will it make the itchy go away?" "What itchy?" She lifted her tunic just enough to reveal a silvered ridge along her ribs. "Here, it buzzes sometimes, like bees inside." Varro stepped forward. "She's fine. We're done here." Marcus met the man's eyes, cold, flat, and forced a smile. "Of course. Take care, Lyra." The door sealed behind them. Marcus stared at the frozen scan image. The lattice pulsed once on the screen, then dimmed, as if aware it was being watched. That night, the outpost quieted to the low thrum of generators. Marcus sat in the tiny office behind the infirmary, boots propped on a crate, replaying the scan. He'd stripped the metadata, routed it through 3 anonymizers, and still the file refused to open past the header. Frustration tasted metallic. He poured 2 fingers of contraband whiskey, real earth stuff smuggled in a med crate, and knocked it back. A soft knock. The door slid open a crack, and Celine Arakar slipped inside. She moved like mist, robes whispering over the deck plates. Her skin carried the same blue glow as Lyra's, though darker, threaded with faint gold freckles. She closed the door with a fingertip. "You look like you swallowed a grenade," she said, voice low, amused. Marcus huffed a laugh. "Close. Got a patient today. Little Aurelian girl. Something's off." He spun the hollow screen so she could see. "Tell me I'm not seeing things." Celine leaned in, her antennae stilled, the gold in her cheeks drained to ash. She reached out, fingers hovering over the projection, tracing the lattice without touching it. "Stars preserve us," she whispered. "That's a bio key." "Come again." She straightened, eyes wide. "Old prohibition tech, outlawed after the Veil Accords. They grow the child around the lock. Neural pathways, endocrine triggers, everything keyed to one genome." Her voice dropped. "Lyra isn't a person to them, Marcus. She's a vault door." He felt the whiskey turn to lead in his gut. "Vault for what?" Celine glanced at the door, then back. "Data. Ledger of every trafficked child, every bribe, every shipping lane from here to the rim. Enough to bring down half the prefecture council." She swallowed. "Prefect Malix's name is on the seal." Marcus closed the projection. The room felt smaller, air thicker. "Varro's her guardian?" "Varro is muscle. Malix is the architect." Celine's hands trembled. She tucked them into her sleeves. "If they activate her implant in private mode, the vault wipes itself. Evidence gone. Forever." Marcus rubbed the scar on his left forearm. An old shrapnel kiss from a dust-up on Proxima Station. He'd patched soldiers, civilians, even the occasional pirate. Never a child shaped into a weapon. "What happens to Lyra if they open it publicly?" Celine met his gaze. "The data broadcasts. She lives, but the feedback fries the lattice. Permanent nerve damage, maybe worse." He exhaled through his teeth. "So we're racing a clock we can't see." "We?" Celine arched a brow, but her mouth curved, half challenge, half hope. Marcus stood, rolling his shoulders. "Someone's got to keep that kid from being a footnote. Might as well be the guy who already broke 17 regulations tonight." Celine's smile softened. "Then we start at the Indigo Veil. Tomorrow night. Malix hosts a charity gala for orphaned minors." She said the word charity like it tasted of rot. "Perfect cover." Marcus nodded once. Outside the viewport, Kestrel 9's night wind moaned against the hull, carrying grains of red sand that glittered like dying embers. He watched them swirl and vanish. Scars weren't just pain, he thought. Sometimes they were maps, and maps could lead you straight into the fire. The Indigo Veil clung to the underside of Haven Ridge like a jeweled parasite. Its entrance was a simple arch of black glass. No sign, no bouncer, only a retinal scanner that tasted your credit line before it tasted your soul. Marcus adjusted the collar of his borrowed jacket, synth silk, the color of deep space, and tried not to fidget. The fabric felt wrong against the calluses on his hands. Celine walked half a step ahead, arm looped through his with practiced ease. Her gown shimmered like spilled oil, shifting from violet to midnight with every breath. A delicate chain of Aurelian silver circled her throat. Cultural token for an envoy, tracker for Marcus. They'd spent the afternoons soldering the tiny pulse beacon into the clasp. If things went south, he'd know where she was within 3 meters. "Relax," she murmured, lips barely moving. "You look like a cadet on prom night." Marcus huffed. "Never had a prom. Closest I got was stitching up a sergeant after a bar fight on Titan." He offered his arm again. She took it. The scanner chimed green. Doors parted with a sigh. Inside, the air tasted of ozone and expensive perfume. Holographic vines crawled the ceiling, dripping phantom dew that evaporated before it touched the marble floor. Guests drifted in clusters. Terran merchants in tailored charcoal, Aurelian nobles with luminous tattoos, a pair of avian diplomats preening iridescent wings. Music pulsed low, a heartbeat under the conversation. Celine's grip tightened. "There, balcony level. Malix." Marcus followed her gaze. Prefect Malix stood beneath a chandelier of living crystal, robes the white of fresh bone. His smile never reached his eyes. Vero hovered at his elbow, scanning the room like a turret. Between them, half hidden by Malix's sleeve, was Lyra, dressed in pale blue, hair braided with tiny lights. She looked small, too small. Easy, Celine whispered. We're just a couple looking to adopt. They moved through the crowd, accepting flutes of sparkling nebula from silent servers. Marcus sipped. Sweet, then a burn like battery acid. He kept his voice light. Envoy Erikar, remind me why we're browsing children like vintage wine? Celine's laugh tinkled. Perfect cover. Because some investments appreciate, darling. She steered him toward a lift tube disguised as a column of water. The doors sealed. Gravity softened. Up they went, balcony level. Malix noticed them immediately. His gaze flicked over Celine's credentials, forged that morning in a maintenance alcove, then settled on Marcus with mild curiosity. Envoy, Contractor Hale, isn't it? I believe we share a mutual acquaintance in the Terran Medical Corps. Marcus inclined his head. Retired Corps. These days I broker specialized services. He let the pause linger, the way shady deals like to breathe. Malix's smile thinned. Of course. The auction begins shortly in Atrium 6. Private viewing for esteemed patrons? He gestured, and a side door irised open. Varro took Lyra's hand, too tight, and let her through. The girl glanced back once. Her eyes found Marcus across the room, a flicker of recognition, then gone. Celine's fingers brushed Marcus's wrist. 2 taps. Go. They followed the prefect down a corridor lit by bilum strips that pulsed like veins. The air grew cooler, scented with antiseptic under the perfume. Atrium 6 was a dome of smoked glass, floor inlaid with concentric circles. In the center stood a low platform. Around it, a dozen children, human, Aurelian, one small reptilian with downy scales. Waited in transparent pods, sedated but awake, eyes tracking the room with drug-dazed calm. Marcus's stomach turned. He kept his face neutral, the contractor mask. Malix stepped to a podium. Gentle beings, tonight we offer not mere orphans but opportunities. Each child carries unique enhancements, compatible with a variety of corporate needs. He tapped a control. Lyra's pod rose to the platform. The lights dimmed to a surgical blue. Lot 1, Malix announced. Aurelian female, age indeterminate. BioKey certified. Starting bid, 5 million credits. A hollow bid board flickered to life. Numbers climbed. Marcus felt Celine tense beside him. He slipped his hand into his pocket, thumbed the EMP pebble they'd built from a med scanner and a stolen power cell. Range, 2 meters. One shot. Lyra's pod rotated slowly. The lattice under her skin began to glow. Soft at first, then brighter. Nodes syncing to an unseen signal. She pressed both palms to the glass, mouth opening in a silent O. Marcus, Celine breathed. She's activating. He stepped forward, casual, raising his flute in a mock toast. Prefect, a question. Does the BioKey come with a warranty? Laughter rippled from the bidders. Malix's eyes narrowed, but he indulged the interruption. Marcus edged closer. 1 meter. The EMP hummed against his palm. Warm. Lyra's glow intensified. The podium console beeped confirmation. Vault interface initializing. Celine moved at the same moment, slipping behind a server drone to plant the transmitter node. If they could piggyback the public channel. Vero's head snapped toward her. Too fast. He barked an order. 2 guards in matte armor converged. Marcus thumbed the EMP, a soft pop like a cork. Every light in the atrium stuttered. Lyra's lattice dimmed. The console spat error codes. Chaos bloomed, bidders shouting, pods locking down. Intruders, Vero roared. Marcus lunged for Lyra's pod. The glass was warm, vibrating. He slammed his palm against the emergency release. Military override he'd hot-wired hours earlier. The pod hissed open. Lyra stumbled into his arms, light as a bird. Hey, kid, remember me? He scooped her up. Time to go. Celine was already at the service hatch, prying it with a stolen multi-tool. Sparks flew. Behind them, Varro shoved bidders aside, drawing a sidearm that looked too large for the room. Marcus transmitted the protective frequency. Low, steady, the same heartbeat he'd recorded in the infirmary. Lyra's lattice pulsed once in acknowledgement, then settled. Safe, for now. They spilled into a maintenance corridor, boots clanging on grating. Alarms began to wail, distant but rising. Celine sealed the hatch behind them with a welding bead. Transport bays 3 levels down. We grab a shuttle. We broadcast from orbit. A stun bolt scorched the wall beside Marcus's head. Varro was already through another door, guards fanning out. Lyra buried her face in Marcus's shoulder. Plan B, Marcus said. We split up. You take her. I'll draw them. Celine's eyes flashed. Not happening. Another bolt. Closer. The corridor forked, left to the bays, right to the industrial sector. Marcus made the choice. He shoved Lyra into Celine's arms. Go left. I'll keep them busy. Rendezvous at pad 7 in 20. Celine opened her mouth to argue, then nodded once, sharp. She vanished around the corner, Lyra's blue glow fading with her. Marcus turned right, drawing the compact pistol he wasn't supposed to have. The weight felt familiar, like an old friend he'd hoped never to see again. Footsteps pounded behind him. He ducked into the shadows of conveyor belts and cargo crates, heart hammering a soldier's rhythm he'd tried to forget. Somewhere above, Malix would be furious. Good. Let him come. The industrial sector breathed like a sleeping beast. Conveyor belts groaned overhead, hauling ore carts on magnetic rails. Steam hissed from cracked pipes, curling around Marcus's boots as he moved between stacks of alloy crates. The air tasted of hot metal and ozone. He kept his pistol low, thumb on the safety, ears straining for the clatter of pursuit. Varro's voice crackled over the outpost intercom. Calm, clipped, the tone of a man used to being obeyed. Seal sectors 4 through 7. Intruders are armed. Non-lethal if possible. The girl is priority. Marcus snorted softly. Non-lethal. Right. He ducked under a loading arm and keyed his wrist scanner to Lyra's biosignature. A faint blip pulsed 2 levels below, moving fast, Celine making for the bays. Good. He killed the display before the glow gave him away. Footsteps, 3 sets, maybe 4, echoed from the left catwalk. Marcus pressed against a crate, breath shallow. The guards passed within arm's reach, visors down, rifles sweeping. One paused, head tilting as if listening to static in his earpiece. Thermal's picking up residue this way, the guard muttered. Marcus waited until their boots faded, then slipped the opposite direction. He needed noise, distraction. A control panel glowed on the wall, half hidden by coolant hoses. He pried it open with the muzzle of his pistol. Inside, relay boards blinking like sleepy eyes. He yanked the maintenance override chip, crushed it under his heel, and hot-wired the conveyor master switch. The belts lurched to life with a metallic scream. Carts slammed together, spilling gravel in a roaring avalanche. Alarms whooped. Somewhere above, Varro cursed loud enough to carry. Marcus ran. He vaulted a safety rail, landed on a lower platform, knees protesting. The chase was spreading. Boots on grating, shouted coordinates. He wove through machinery, using the din as cover. A service ladder led down. He took it 2 rungs at a time, pistol clenched in his teeth. Level 6. The air grew colder, laced with the tang of fuel. Transport bay access loomed ahead, a massive iris door half open, yellow warning strobes painting the walls. Celine's beacon pulsed steady. She was inside. Marcus sprinted. A stun bolt sizzled past his ear, close enough to singe hair. He dove, rolled behind a fuel drum. Varro stepped into view at the corridor mouth, flanked by 2 guards. The man's face was stone, but his eyes burned. "Dr. Hale," Varro called, voice carrying over the alarms. "Return the asset. No one else needs to get hurt." Marcus thumbed his pistol to lethal, small dial, big consequence, and sighted on Varro's knee. "Asset has a name, pal, and she's not yours." He fired. The bolt struck the deck at Varro's feet, sparking. The guards flinched. Varro didn't. Marcus used the heartbeat of confusion to sprint for the iris. Another shot. His shoulder exploded in white fire. Stun round, high setting. His arm went numb, pistol clattering away. He crashed through the door shoulder first, pain lancing down his side. The bay yawned open. Rows of shuttles. Cargo skiffs. One sleek diplomatic courier, with Malix's crest. Celine knelt beside a maintenance hatch. Lyra huddled against her. The girl's lattice flickered erratically, feedback from the EMP wearing off. "Marcus!" Celine's voice cracked. She raised her own pistol, a slim Aurelian needler, and laid down covering fire. Marcus scooped his fallen weapon with his good hand, teeth gritted. "Pad 7, go!" They ran. The courier's ramp was down, engines spooling with a predatory whine. Malix stood at the top, robes flapping, one hand clamped around Celine's upper arm. No, wait. Celine was still beside him. The figure Malix held was another Aurelian woman? No time. Varro burst through the iris, guards fanning wide. Marcus shoved Lyra behind a tool cart. "Stay low, kid." He and Selene backed toward a battered cargo hauler, open cockpit, keys dangling like an invitation. Celine vaulted into the driver's seat. "I hotwire, you shoot." "Deal." Marcus braced against the hull, firing controlled bursts. One guard dropped, clutching his thigh. Non-lethal setting, flipped back on instinct. Old habits. The hauler roared to life. Celine gunned it, tires screeching on permacrete. Marcus grabbed the side rail, hauling himself in as Varro lunged. The man's fingers brushed his boot. Then the hauler shot forward, slamming through a safety gate. They tore across the bay, sparks flying. Behind them, Malix dragged his captive. Celine? No, impossible, toward the courier. Marcus's vision blurred from the stun hit, but he saw the prefect's mouth moving, shouting orders into a comm. "He's got Celine!" Lyra cried from the back seat, voice small but piercing. Marcus twisted. The woman in Malix's grip wore Celine's gown, but the angle was wrong, the hair shorter. A decoy? No, Celine was driving. Then who? The courier's ramp began to rise. Malix shoved the woman inside, then turned, eyes locking on Marcus across the bay. Even at distance, the smile was venom. Celine swerved the hauler toward Pad 7, a public shuttle, engines cold but pre-flight checklist complete. She killed the throttle, skidding to a stop. "We take that," broadcast from low orbit before they scrambled jammers. Marcus nodded, pain throbbing in his shoulder. He lifted Lyra down. The girl clung to his neck, lattice dim but steady. "Almost there, kid." They sprinted up the shuttle ramp. Celine sealed the hatch, fingers flying over the console. "Clearance codes?" "Working on it." Marcus patched his wrist scanner into the nav system, uploading the override he'd lifted from a drunk traffic controller last week. The shuttle hummed, lights green. Outside, Varro organized a cordon, 6 guards closing fast. The courier lifted on pillars of blue flame, Malix visible in the viewport, gesturing furiously. "He's taking her wherever he wants," Marcus said, voice rough. "We get altitude, we open the vault public." Forces his hand. Celine's hands paused on the controls. "And if he triggers private mode first?" Marcus met her eyes. "Then we make sure the galaxy hears Lyra scream." The shuttle lurched skyward, thrusters roaring. Kestrel 9 fell away below. Red deserts, silver outpost lights, the indigo veil shrinking to a glittering scar. Marcus strapped Lyra into a jump seat, her small hand finding his. "Don't let go," she whispered. He squeezed once. "Not a chance." Artonibun. Behind them, the courier banked hard, pursuit burners flaring. The chase climbed into the black. The shuttle bucked against Kestrel 9's gravity well, thrusters firing in short, angry bursts. Stars streaked past the viewport, cold fire against the black. Marcus braced in the co-pilot seat, shoulder throbbing from the stun hit, a dull fire that spread with every jolt. Lyra curled in the jump seat behind him, knees to chest, her lattice casting faint blue shadows on the bulkhead. Celine's hands danced over the console, evading the courier's lock-on warnings. "They're faster," she said, voice steady but edged. "Diplomatic overrides." They cut through traffic control like nothing. Marcus checked the rear sensors. "How long till we hit broadcast range?" 2 minutes, maybe 3. She banked hard, stars wheeling. A proximity alarm wailed. Missile lock. Celine slapped the countermeasures. Chaff bloomed behind them like a metallic storm. The courier closed, a silver dagger in pursuit. Marcus patched his scanner to the main screen. Lyra's biosig steady, but a second Aurelian signal flickered aboard the enemy ship. Weak, erratic. "That's Celine?" Lyra whispered, antennae drooping. Marcus's gut twisted. The decoy in Malix's grip had been Celine after all? Split-second illusion in the bay chaos? No, she'd been driving. Unless, double, he muttered. They cloned the beacon, or jammed it. He keyed the comms array, fingers clumsy from pain. Initiating Vault Link now. The console hummed, querying Lyra's implant. A progress bar crept, 12%, 18%. Her lattice flared brighter, and she whimpered, small hands clutching the straps. Easy, kid, Marcus said over his shoulder. Breathe with me. In, out. Celine glanced back, eyes fierce. Marcus! Proximity klaxon screamed. The courier fired. Disruptor pulse, not missile. The shuttle's shields flared violet, then buckled. Lights dimmed, consoles sparked. Tractor beam, a Kutsawayer, Celine yelled. They're reeling us in. Marcus unstrapped, staggering to the engineering panel. Override it. Dump power domains. Can't. It's keyed to the docking collar. She fought the controls, but the shuttle slowed, dragged backward like a hooked fish. The courier loomed large in the viewport, bay doors yawning open. Lyra's lattice pulsed in sync with the tractor, nodes lighting one by one. Vault link, 47%. Marcus grabbed a tether line, clipping it to his belt. Celine, get her stable. I'll board them. She stared. You're out of your mind. Only way. He checked his pistol, half charge left, and grabbed a breaching tool from the locker. Keep the link open. Public mode only. The shuttle shuddered into the courier's bay. Clamps locked with a final clang. Air seals hissed. Atmosphere equalized. Marcus hauled the hatch, pistol ready. 4 guards waited, rifles trained. Varro in the lead, face a mask of grim satisfaction. Predictable, Doctor, Varro said. Drop it. Marcus let the pistol clatter. Just want the girl safe. Malix wins either way. Varro gestured with his rifle. Move. They marched him down a sterile corridor, white walls pulsing with security fields. Lyra's link crept. 62%. Marcus felt it in his bones. The hum through the deck plates. The bridge was compact, all sharp angles and glowing hollows. Malix stood at the command pedestal, Celine bound to a restraint chair beside him. Real Celine, gown torn, lips split, eyes blazing defiance. The decoy ploy. She'd swapped with a serving girl in the chaos, buying them seconds. Well, Malix drawled, the meddler arrives. Your little stunt at the Veil was amusing. Marcus stopped short of the pedestal. Let them go. Activate private. Wipe it clean. Malix chuckled, low. Tempting, but the bio key demands a controller. He tapped a neural crown on the console, spiked interface, meant for Lyra. You'll do the honors, Doctor, or your friends fry. Varro's rifle pressed Marcus's back. He knelt slowly, crown in hand. Link, 78%. Sweat beaded his brow. Celine strained against her bonds. Marcus, don't... Quiet. Malix silenced her with a gesture. To Marcus. Now. He lifted the crown, hesitated. One condition, safe passage for the kid. Malix's eyes narrowed. Agreed. Marcus moved toward Celine's chair. No. Feint. He spun, slamming the crown onto Varro's neck. Spikes bit. The man convulsed, rifle firing wild. Chaos erupted. Guards fired. Marcus dove behind the pedestal. Bolts scorched the air. He snatched a fallen rifle, set to wide stun, and swept the room. 2 guards dropped. Varro ripped free, roaring, charging. Marcus rolled, firing point blank. Varro crumpled. Malix lunged for the abort console. Celine twisted, kicking the pedestal. Controls shattered. Link, 92%. You fool! Malix snarled, drawing a holdout pistol. Marcus tackled him. They crashed across the deck, fists flying. Malix was wiry, strong, clawed at Marcus's stun wound. Pain exploded, white hot. Back in the shuttle, Lyra cried out. Lattice at peak, nodes burning bright. Celine yelled into the comm, Hold it! Public channel! Marcus pinned Malix, knee on chest. It's done! The prefect bucked. Private mode. Too late. Link, 100%. A low tone filled the bridge. Then silence. Malix's eyes widened. No! Marcus hauled him up, slamming him against the viewport. Outside, the courier's hull glowed, data streams racing along the skin, broadcasting. But nothing happened. No skywide flood, no alerts. Jammed, Malix whispered, triumphant. My ship, shielded. Marcus's heart sank. The shuttle's link, isolated. Evidence trapped. Alarms blared. Distant fighters inbound. Outpost response. Malix twisted free, grabbing the pistol. Time to erase. He aimed at Celine. Marcus charged. A small hand tugged his sleeve. Lyra, how? Stood in the hatchway, lattice blazing like a star. She'd slipped the tether, crossed alone. No more, she said, voice tiny but steel. Her implant surged. Feedback loop, reversing the jam. Data punched through the shields, a luminous wave erupting from the courier. Kestrel 9's sky ignited below. Ledgers scrolled in aurora fire. Names, routes, faces of stolen children. Every channel, every comm, every legal net in the system. Malix staggered, clutching his head. Impossible! Allied interceptors swarmed. Terran and Aurelian marks. Tractor beams locked the courier. Game over. Marcus scooped Lyra, her glow fading to embers. Celine freed herself, joining them. The three stood at the viewport, watching justice bloom across the stars. But Malix wasn't done. In the confusion, he slipped a shuttle pod, vanishing into the black. One loose end. For now, though, they breathed. The courier drifted in the tractor lattice like a moth caught in amber. Its hull reflected the strobing red of the interceptors, each pulse a silent heartbeat counting down to custody. Inside the bay, the air recyclers still carried the sharp bite of ionized shielding, and the deck plates vibrated with the low thrum of engines held in check. Marcus leaned against the bulkhead, the stun wound in his shoulder reduced to a dull, manageable ache under the medic's quick work. The nerve block left his left arm tingling as if it belonged to someone else. Lyra sat cross-legged on the deck plating, knees drawn up, tracing idle circles on the metal with one fingertip. Her lattice had dimmed to a soft pearl glow, no longer the frantic strobe of activation. Every few seconds, the nodes pulsed in the slow synchrony with her heartbeat, a living constellation under translucent skin. She looked impossibly small against the courier's cold geometry. Celine knelt beside her, running a final diagnostic with the handheld scanner. The device chirped a steady green. Feedback loop stabilized, she murmured. No cascade risk. You're tougher than you look, little star. Lyra offered a shy half-smile, antennae twitching. The buzzing's quiet now. Like... The bees went to sleep. Good, Marcus said, voice gravel rough. Means the vault's done talking. The Terran Marine squad breached the main hatch with practiced efficiency, boots heavy on the ramp, rifles lowered but fingers indexed along the frames. The lead sergeant, visor flipped up, revealed a face etched with old burn scars and older fatigue. He scanned the bridge. Stunned guards zip-tied in the corner, shattered command pedestal, Malix's empty restraint chair still warm. Dr. Marcus Hale? The sergeant asked, eyes flicking to the sling. Interspecies Task Force. You're secure. Prefect Malix? Ejected in a stealth pod, Marcus replied. Track the signature. He had a bolt hole prepped. Already on scopes. Thermal bloom near the asteroid belt. Won't get far. The sergeant waved medics forward. Let's get you patched proper. They worked fast. Nerve blocks, synth skin, a sling Marcus protested, but accepted. One medic knelt by Lyra, scanner hovering. Deactivation sequence? She asked Celine. Celine shook her head. Not here. Need a clean surgical suite. Feedback could fry her spinal nodes. She ruffled Lyra's hair, earning another small grin. The courier was towed to Haven Ridge's diplomatic bay under triple escort. 2 Terran gunships and an Aurelian corvette flying close formation. Dawn bled across Kestrel 9's horizon, twin suns rising in bruised harmony. The sky still shimmered with data ghosts, ledgers looping, names scrolling like prayers across every public channel. Emergency protocols had kicked in within minutes. Malix's diplomatic immunity suspended under biocrime statutes, warrants cascading through every allied system. The trafficking ring cracked wide open, shipping routes frozen, accounts seized, Safe houses raided before the ink of the broadcast dried. But Malix was gone. Hours later, in the outpost's secure ward, Marcus sat on an exam table while a region unit hummed over his shoulder, knitting muscle and nerve with microscopic precision. Celine paced the narrow aisle between beds, robes swapped for practical fatigues, hair tied back in a severe knot that made her look younger, sharper. Lyra slept in the next bed, curled under a thermal blanket, lattice finely dark, chest rising and falling in the slow rhythm of exhausted children. Pod's signature vanished near the asteroid belt, Celine said, stopping to stare out the viewport. He had a bolt hole prepped, probably a microstation with a jump gate. Marcus flexed his fingers, tingling but functional. He'll resurface. Guys like that always do. Pride's a hell of a fuel. Task force is sweeping. Evidence is ironclad. She turned, arms folded. We did it, Marcus. The vault opened public. Thousands of kids flagged for recovery. Routes, handlers, buyers, names the galaxy never dared whisper. He nodded, but the victory tasted thin, like ration broth left too long on the burner. Lyra's still got hardware in her chest, and Malix knows every face that burned him. Celine's gaze softened. We'll fix the hardware. I've requested Dr. Ilara Voss from Aurelia Prime, pediatric neurosurgeon, best in the sector. She owes me a favor from the Veil Accords. She paused. As for Malix, let the hunters earn their pay. The door chimed. A task force lieutenant entered, data slate glowing. Dr. Hale, biologist Erikar, official statement time, and the girl needs a guardian ad litem, provisional custody hearing in 72 hours. Marcus and Celine exchanged a look, quick, wordless, the kind forged in fire. Celine spoke first. We'll stand for her, jointly. The lieutenant's brow arched, but he tapped the slate. Provisional approval, full hearing scheduled. You'll need character witnesses, residency plans. We'll manage, Marcus cut in. Just get us the forms. After the lieutenant left, silence settled, thick as dust after a sandstorm. Marcus slid off the table, wincing as weight hit his legs. Jointly, huh? Celine's mouth quirked, half challenge, half warmth. Someone has to keep you from teaching her bad habits, like hot wiring shuttles in your sleep. He huffed a laugh that pulled at his shoulder. Fair, but I get to teach her how to throw a punch. Only if I teach her how to dodge. That night, Marcus found Lyra on the observation deck, barefoot again, perched on the safety rail with her legs dangling over the void. The data aurora had faded completely, leaving the sky clean, stars sharp as frost. He offered a mug of warm nutrient broth, real cocoa powder smuggled in his med kit. She took it with both hands, sipping carefully. Will it hurt? She asked, eyes on the horizon. When they take it out? Some, Marcus admitted, like pulling a splinter, but deeper. Dr. Voss will put you in a nice dream first. You'll wake up with a story to tell. Lyra traced the rim of the mug. I want to help other kids, the ones still waiting in the dark. Marcus's throat tightened. He sat beside her, boots on the lower rail, careful not to crowd. Then we'll build something, a place where scars turn into strength. Doctors, teachers, maybe even a shuttle bay for kids who dream of flying. She leaned against his good arm, small and warm, the weight of her trust heavier than any metal. Below, recovery teams lifted off, shuttles bound for the coordinates now burning across every screen, children coming home. Some would land within hours, others might take weeks. But the map was drawn. In the quiet, Marcus felt the loose end tug. Malix was out there, pride wounded, resources intact. A man who trafficked in futures wouldn't vanish quietly. Somewhere in the asteroid belt, a microstation spun up jump coils, and a prefect plotted. Dawn broke fully, painting the deck in liquid gold. Marcus watched the light catch on Lyra's sleeping face. She dozed off mid-sentence, mug cradled in her lap, and made a silent promise. No more shadows. Not while he had breath. He carried her back to the ward, blanket and all, and tucked her in. Celine met him at the door, eyes soft. Get some rest, soldier, she whispered. Marcus managed a tired grin. Yes, ma'am. Outside the viewport, the twin suns climbed higher, chasing the last of the night across Kestrel 9. The sky was open, and for the first time in years, It felt wide enough to hold tomorrow. The Interspecies Pediatric Biocenter rose from the red dust of Kestrel 9 like a promise carved in glass and steel. Its domes caught the twin suns and scattered them into rainbows across the landing pads. 2 months had passed since the courier's capture, since the sky had opened and bled truth. The center's dedication ceremony was scheduled for dawn tomorrow. Ribbon cutting, speeches, a choir of rescued children singing in three-part harmony. Marcus stood on the roof terrace in his dress grays, collar too tight, medals he never wore clinking softly. The wind tasted of sage and engine heat. Celine found him there, boots silent on the permacrete. She wore the new director's coat, deep indigo, bioethics sigil embroidered over the heart. "You're brooding again," she said, leaning on the rail beside him. "Just counting exits," Marcus replied. "Old habit." Below, workers strung fairy lights between shuttle gantries. Lyra darted among them, barefoot as ever, directing a drone string with imperial gestures. Her chest bore a faint silver scar now, thin, deliberate, the mark of Dr. Voss's precision. The lattice was gone, but the memory of its glow lingered in her eyes when she laughed. Celine followed his gaze. "She asked if she could name the East Wing after you," Marcus snorted. "Tell her I veto. Call it the No More Shadows Wing." A soft chime from his wristcom. Encrypted burst, task force channel. He tapped it open. The holo unfolded. A grainy image of Malix, thinner, eyes harder, boarding a nondescript freighter in the asteroid belt. Timestamp, 4 hours old. "He's here," Marcus said. "Kestrel 9 orbit." Celine's knuckles whitened on the rail. "How?" "Blockades triple layered." "Money buys holes." He closed the holo. "Ceremony's his stage. Wants the spotlight back." Alarms remained silent. No official alert. Malix still had friends in quiet places. Marcus felt the old soldier stir, muscles remembering weight that wasn't there. Celine touched his arm. "We call it in." "And spook him? He vanishes again." Marcus shook his head. "We finish this quiet. Tonight." The diplomatic bay lay in half shadow, maintenance lights cycling lazy amber. Marcus moved along the catwalks above the docking rings, pistol holstered but loose. Celine ghosted parallel on the lower deck, calm beat in her ear. Lyra was safe, tucked in the center's secure ward with 2 off-duty Marines who owed Marcus favors. Sensors pinged, a sleek courier, transponder scrubbed, easing toward pad 3. Malix's silhouette in the cockpit window, unmistakable. He stepped onto the ramp alone, hands empty, white robes pristine. No guards. Arrogance or trap? Marcus dropped to the deck, boots silent. "End of the line, Prefect." Malix turned slowly, smile thin as a scalpel. "Doctor, still playing hero." "Kids aren't props," Marcus said. "Step away from the ship." Malix raised a small remote. One press, the center's power grid, fries. Every child on life support flats. You want them breathing? You listen. Celine's voice whispered in Marcus's ear. "Bomb signature, cargo hold, timed, 30 minutes. Marcus kept his hands visible. "What do you want?" "Lyra, final activation. Private mode this time. Vault wipes, I walk." Malix's eyes glittered. "She's the only key left." Marcus's pulse thrummed, steady. "She's a kid, not a key." "Semantics." Malix thumbed the remote. A soft beep. Countdown live. Celine materialized from the shadows. Needler steady. "Drop it." Malix's smile widened. 2 guns, 1 bomb. Math never was your strength, biologist. Marcus edged left, drawing Malix's gaze. "You're forgetting something." "What's that?" "The kids you hurt? They're not waiting anymore." Lyra's voice rang out, small, clear, from the gantry above. "I'm right here." She stood in her nightgown, silver scar catching the light. In her hands, Marcus's old med scanner, jury-rigged with a transmitter node. She'd followed them. Again. Malix's composure cracked. "Child!" Lyra pressed the trigger. A pulse rippled. Not EMP, but the protective frequency Marcus had burned into her lattice months ago. It resonated with the bomb's detonator, scrambling the timer. Sparks showered from the courier's hold. Countdown frozen at 0:12. Malix lunged. Marcus met him halfway. Fist to jaw, knee to gut. They crashed against the ramp, robes tearing. Celine darted past, slapping restraints on the remote hand. Marcus pinned Malix face down, breath ragged. "It's over." The prefect spat blood. "You think cuffs end this? The network's bigger." Celine silenced him with a hypospray. "Sedative. Fast. Sleep monster." Task force floodlights snapped on, Marines pouring in. The sergeant from the courier clapped Marcus's good shoulder. "Nice work, Doc." Again. Later, in the center's quiet atrium, the three sat on a bench beneath a skylight. Stars wheeled overhead. Lyra leaned between them, sleepy but triumphant. "I hacked it," she said, proud. "Like you showed me." Marcus ruffled her hair. "Don't make a habit of sneaking into firefights." Celine laughed, the sound bright in the dark. "Too late." Outside, dawn crept closer. The ceremony would go on. Malix in chains, the center open, scars turning to windows. But tonight, the fight felt finished. Marcus looked at the sky, vast and unguarded. "Scars do not only tell of pain," he murmured. "They are windows through which justice and hope can enter." Lyra squeezed his hand. Celine rested her head on his good shoulder. The knife was drawn. The light had won. The diplomatic bay doors sealed behind the last Marine transport with a final, metallic sigh. Malix's courier sat impounded under floodlights, its hull scarred by Lyra's improvised pulse. Bomb casing cracked open like a gutted fish. The prefect himself was gone, sedated, cuffed, shuttled to a black site brig where diplomatic immunity meant nothing against biocrime warrants. Marcus watched the taillights vanish into the pre-dawn haze, shoulder aching where Malix's elbow had caught him. The fight had been short, brutal, and mercifully quiet. No casualties. Just bruises and the faint smell of ozone. Celine stood beside him on the catwalk, arms folded tight. "He talked," she said. "On the ride up. Names, accounts, 3 more vaults seated in other children." Her voice cracked on the last word, then steadied. "Task force is mobilizing recovery teams now." Marcus exhaled through his teeth. "How many kids?" 7 confirmed, maybe dozens. She turned, eyes reflecting the floodlights like twin moons. "We started something that won't stop with one arrest." Below, Lyra sat on a tool crate, legs swinging, med scanner cradled in her lap like a trophy. A Marine medic tried to coax it away for evidence. She clutched it tighter, antennae flat. Marcus descended the ladder, boots clanging. "Hey, hero," he said, crouching. "That scanner's going into a museum." Lyra's lip trembled. "It's mine. I fixed it." "You did." He pried it gently from her fingers, turned it over. The casing was scorched, jury-rigged wires spilling like guts. "But the idea inside it, that belongs to every kid still waiting. Let them borrow the magic." She considered this, then nodded solemnly. The medic took the device with reverence. Celine joined them. "Dr. Voss is prepping surgical suites on Aurelia Prime. We leave at first light. All 7 bio keys, simultaneous deactivation. No more private modes." Marcus straightened. "And us?" "Guardians ad litem," she said, the title sounding both heavy and right. "Joint custody hearings a formality now." Malix's confession sealed it. Lyra slipped her hands into theirs, one small, one calloused, one elegant. Together they walked the length of the bay, past impounded ships and humming evidence drones. The twin suns crested the ridge, spilling gold across the permacrete. For the first time, the light felt clean. The dedication ceremony began as the suns cleared the horizon. Haven Ridge's central plaza filled with folding chairs, hollow banners, and the low murmur of hope. Rescued children, some still bandaged, some already laughing, sat in the front rows flanked by new families. Lyra stood center stage in a simple blue tunic, silver scar proud beneath the collar. Marcus and Celine flanked her, stiff in formal coats. The Aurelian choir opened with a wordless harmony that rose like birds. Then Lyra stepped to the podium, barely tall enough stool provided. She cleared her throat. "Scars," she began, voice small but amplified, "are like doors. Bad people tried to lock mine, but doors open both ways." A ripple of laughter, soft and surprised. Cameras swiveled. Marcus felt Celine's hand find his behind the podium. Lyra continued, "This center is for kids who still have locks. We'll teach them how to pick their own." She turned, gestured to the east wing. "And we named it the No More Shadows Wing because Dr. Marcus said so." Cheers erupted. Marcus felt heat crawl up his neck. Celine squeezed his fingers. The ribbon, a ribbon of living light woven from rescued children's handprints, fluttered in the breeze. Lyra cut it with oversized scissors. The domes irised open, revealing gardens, classrooms, a shuttle simulator painted with cartoon stars. Children surged forward, laughter echoing off glass. Later, in the new director's office overlooking the playground, Marcus poured 3 cups of real coffee, smuggled again. Lyra sat on the desk, legs swinging, sipping hers with both hands and a milk mustache. Celine leaned against the window. Foundation paperwork's filed. Scars that open the sky. Nonprofit, interstellar charter. First grant approved before lunch. Marcus raised his cup. To doors that open outward? Lyra clinked her mug against his. And to grown-ups who don't look away. Outside, shuttles lifted in formation. Recovery teams bound for the new coordinates. The sky was busy now, stitched with contrails of purpose. Marcus's comm buzzed, encrypted. He frowned, opened it. A single line from an anonymous source. Warehouse 19, Old Port. Midnight. Come alone. M. Celine read over his shoulder. Trap. Or bait. He deleted the message. Malix is cuffed. This is someone else. Lyra tilted her head. Another lock? Maybe. Marcus met Celine's eyes. Sure. We answer together. No more solo runs. She nodded once. Family rule. Midnight found them in the shadows of Warehouse 19, a derelict skeleton on the edge of the old port. The air smelled of rust and coolant. Marcus carried a med kit. Celine, a needler. Lyra tucked safe in the center with Marine guards, and a promise to stay put this time. A figure waited beneath a broken skylight. Tall, cloaked, hood-shadowing, luminous skin. Aurelian. Female. She raised both hands empty. I'm not armed, she said. My name is Kalia. I was Malix's archivist. Marcus kept his pistol low. Talk fast. Kalia pulled a data shard from her sleeve. Insurance. Every transaction, every child, every official who looked away. Malix kept duplicates off-grid. I kept triplicates. She offered the shard. For the children still missing. Celine took it, slotting it into her scanner. Files bloomed. Thousands of lines, coordinates, faces. Why now? Kalia's voice broke. Because my sister was one of the 7. You saved her. I owe you the rest. Marcus holstered the pistol. You're coming with us. Witness protection. She nodded, tears catching starlight. I've waited too long to be afraid. Dawn again, weeks later. The center's east wing bustled. Classrooms full, gardens blooming alien flowers under grow lamps. Marcus stood on the roof terrace, coffee in hand, watching shuttles ferry new arrivals. Celine joined him, coat unbuttoned, hair loose in the wind. Lyra ran up the stairs 2 at a time, breathless. Dr. Voss says the last bio key's out. No complications. Marcus set his cup down, opened his arms. She barreled into them. Celine wrapped around them both. Skies open, Lyra whispered against his chest. Marcus looked up. Contrails crisscrossed the blue, ships coming and going, children finding homes. Scars, silver, faint, earned, glinted on small chests beneath open collars. The knife was gone. The light remained. Years folded like paper cranes over Kestrel 9. The twin suns rose and set on a planet that had learned to breathe again. The interspecies pediatric biocenter sprawled across the ridge now. 3 domes become 7, gardens spilling into hydroponic orchards where children chased iridescent butterflies bred from old Terran stock. Shuttles no longer came only for rescue. They arrived for school terms, internships, family reunions. The scars that opened the Sky Foundation had chapters on 12 worlds, each marked by a simple silver plaque. A door, half open, light pouring through. Marcus stood on the original roof terrace, older, grayer at the temples, but the scars on his arms had faded to pale commas. He wore a soft linen shirt now. No medals, no rank. Retirement suited him the way quiet mornings suited coffee. Below, the playground echoed with laughter in 4 languages. A boy with reptilian scales practiced zero-G flips on the anti-grav swing. A cluster of Aurelian girls braided starlight into each other's hair. Celine emerged from the stairwell, director's coat traded for a gardener's apron dusted with soil. She carried 2 mugs, real cocoa, still smuggled, still perfect. Thought you'd be hiding up here. Hiding's for people with something left to lose, Marcus said, accepting the mug. Steam curled between them. She leaned on the rail. Graduation ceremony in an hour. Lyra's valedictorian. He smiled into his drink. Kid always did like speeches. Lyra had grown, tall now, blue skin luminous with health, silver scar a deliberate badge beneath an open collar. She'd earned dual degrees in xenobiology and tactical medicine. Top of her cohort. The Marines had tried to recruit her. She'd laughed and chosen the foundation instead. Someone has to teach the next batch how to pick locks, she'd said. The ceremony filled the central atrium. Sunlight poured through the skylight, fracturing into rainbows across rows of proud faces, parents, siblings, guardians who'd once been children here themselves. Lyra stepped to the podium in a simple white tunic, antennae swept back with a silver clip shaped like an open door. We were told our scars were cages, she began, voice clear, steady. But cages have bars. Scars have edges, sharp enough to cut chains. The audience stilled. Marcus felt Celine's hand slip into his. Lyra continued. This center isn't a shelter. It's a forge. We take pain and hammer it into tools. Stethoscopes, star charts, shuttle keys. We teach that justice isn't a gift from adults. It's a skill you practice every day you refuse to look away. Applause thundered. Children stood on chairs cheering. Lyra's eyes found Marcus and Celine in the back row. She smiled, small and fierce. After, in the East Wing, still the No More Shadows wing, Lyra unveiled a new mural. It covered the entire wall, a night sky split by a child's handprint, fingers splayed, light streaming through the gaps. Beneath, in silver script, windows that never close. Evening settled soft and gold. The 3 of them walked the orchard paths, boots crunching on fallen petals. Lyra carried a data shard, Kalia's original, now expanded into an interstellar registry. Every rescued child, every recovered route, every reformed trafficker turned witness. She slipped it into Marcus's palm. For the archives, she said, and for the ones we haven't found yet. Marcus closed his fist around it. You heading out? Tomorrow, new chapter on Rigel 4. They've got a whole moon of forgotten kids. She bumped his shoulder. Come visit when you're bored of retirement. Celine laughed. He's allergic to boredom. Give it a week. They reached the old observation deck, now ringed with benches and glow vines. The twin suns dipped toward the horizon, painting the sky in molten copper. Lyra sat between them, legs no longer dangling. She matched Marcus's height now. Silence stretched, comfortable as old blankets. Then Lyra spoke, voice low. I used to think the buzzing in my chest was a curse. Turns out it was a doorbell. Someone on the other side needed in. Marcus felt the words settle in his bones. He looked at the sky, busy with ships, yes, but also vast, unguarded, endless. Scars do not only tell of pain, he said, echoing the thought that had started it all. They are windows through which justice and hope can enter. Lyra leaned her head on his shoulder. Celine rested hers on Lyra's. The orchard rustled around them, alive with the soft industry of healing. Far above, a new shuttle arced across the dusk. Foundation colors, bound for Rigel 4. Its contrail caught the last light and held it, a silver thread stitched into the darkening blue. The window stayed open. The light kept coming.